be archived after the stream ends. I know people haven't shown up yet, so this is probably not going to be heard by anybody but the VOD watchers, but hello, VOD watchers. So this stream is a celebration, retrospective, multiple things about my score on Chips Challenge Level Pack 1 in the Microsoft rule set. As you can see here, I am number one with, if a player scored every bold, they would have a score of 6,006,010. As you can see, that is my score. AB Lewis and James Anderson are 1 second behind. I will point out the level when we get there. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment here while I go and ping other people, but I have the public TWS prepared to reference whose play is what. I have this solution, which is MSCC only, already ready, and I have my dashboard over here to not have my stream playing in the background. So, sorry, I've had a bit of a cold this past week. So we've got that. And I need to ping some people. 8 people asked to be pinged. So 1. Sharpeye. Bacorn. Jesse. Ryan. Josh. And JB. Alright, they have been pinged. So, without further ado, why is that still my active window? So we're going to go through and we're just going to pick up this level here. So I'm going to be switching between these two windows. So the first level is Key Pyramid. And Key Pyramid is a pretty easy level. Also, hey Tyler in the chat. So Key Pyramid's route, I'm just trying to shuffle my windows around a little bit, don't mind me, was set, the bold here was originally set by Tyler. And the main thing to notice about this route, like it's a super easy route. Honestly, easier to find than even lesson 1. Oops, sorry about that. Is just that you don't have to get everything in a room immediately. So when Jessie actually went for this, I believe it was yesterday, her initial route attempts went down and did this room before going and getting that red key. So I pointed that out. And it's one of those little things that you kind of take for granted when you've been routing enough that you just don't see other things. Anyway, slip and slide is another lesson level. And I don't know, for some reason, when I was first looking at CCLP1 back in 2014, I thought that there was another second here if you just played it perfectly. Obviously, that's not the case. But I especially now that I have a much better understanding of what gives spring slides and what doesn't. Present Company took a few tries for me to find a route that got bold on. I was bad then. I don't think I've ever actually watched all of these solutions before, so I'm mostly just going to have general statements at the start here. There's not too much to say on these early levels. Block Party, on the other hand, I did find this route myself. It took me a lot longer than I would like to admit back in 2014. Mostly because of the room after this section. And this was before I'd really started ghosting. Ghosting is when you take a section of a level and you just test it in isolation. Those chips and this section on the right were pretty non-trivial to work out. The big thing, though, was just having the block across the force floor so that you can cut across like that. And then you just go down here and finish the level. So, not too hard of a route, and nothing like really crazy. Facades is even simpler. I will pull up a map after this route goes, so yes, with the blue walls and invisible walls, you do have to take this exact path. I imagine most people watching this probably know that. Um, this is one of those levels where the route is just really obvious. Um, when insects attack, I don't think I've actually seen this one. I had a very tough time finding this route originally, actually. Um, I think I did it a little differently. I went down and got that bug, and like the bug chip before the top part. Um, but yeah, that was a fun one. And then under pressure, I found a better. This was one of the first levels in CCLP1 where I went and did something. It wasn't worth a new record, but my route for this did beat the existing decimal, and I was very surprised to find that out um, when I had, found that out. Switcheroo. I don't remember this level. I really don't. I mean, I will say that it is nice that CCLP1's lesson order, like it introduces things in a different order than CC1 did, but the fact that it still opened with keys is kind of, everybody does that. Swept away, swept away. I think I struggled to find this one back in 2014 as well, just because of these teleports. I didn't, like, I knew how they worked, but I didn't totally understand how they worked, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to highlight that moment right there. That you're right next to the thief. So as you have to loop around to get behind that second block, you get the chips up there. That was one of those things that isn't super obvious. Just like leaving these chips behind, it's like you should get them, except it's faster to get them when you pass through the tiles later. That's just one of those things that feels like it should be so obvious, but it's so easy to overlook that sometimes you can get stuff for free. It was a really nice learning moment when I was first passing through the set. Another one was actually these blocks, just feeling like there had to be a way to save something, but no, there's just a lot of equivalent ways. And I know that the bold on this level is 320, and I'm showing the public solution here, which in Tile World in the public TWS is 318. That's because this level, this bold route of 320, uses a glitch known as the teleport skip glitch, which the short version of that is mouse moves in MSCC can happen on the first half of a move if you mouse moved into a boost, so you slide and then this boosted move comes before the slip list, which means that when you teleport, the monster that just teleported is sitting on its destination teleport when you slide, and at the end of the day you skip that teleport. And interestingly, the monster will skip its next teleport too. But yeah, 318, and I'm going to pull this one. Hello? Okay. I have to pull this one back up. So whatever. So graduation in MSCC. I think James recorded this with ChipCap, so it is running faster even than the actual game. It's going to be the exact same route. Wow, James didn't wait with a left-right for those balls. That is something that I started doing after seeing enough Andrew Bennett routes do it. Just because, well, one, it makes the weights very, very easily noticeable. Like, it's very clearly a weight. And the other main reason why I would do that is it removes an element of timing. Um, so if you have to wait um, an exact amount of time, then if you can automatically wait that by making another input, why not do that? Another thing about that is I've done that during boosting strings. I believe my one of my blockbuster routes deliberately like goes up left up 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 during one of the strings so that I drop a half move during the boosting just automatically with an input. That left right when I was going for graduation in MSCC, by the way. That took me a very long time. So mouse click, teleport, skip, come up here. This route, like I am not comfortable with the MSCC timing, like at all. So I'm just gonna say that that took me like an hour to score, and the route is not difficult. I can get the even with the mouse click, I could get it every time. Basketball, I had a very tough time routing. That's going to be a recurring theme for most of these early easy levels. Just, um, I don't know. I wasn't seeing good ball paths like I can see now. Um, Andrew, welcome to the stream, and JB as well. Why is the phone ringing on me? Go away, phone call. Anyway, leave no stone unturned. So this level, this level gave me trouble in that I missed something and I still managed to find the 289. But when I went to links, I actually didn't find bold. I found a better block pushing section than previously there, but I missed that you could push that block onto the gravel, so it cost me 4 moves. It didn't cost me a second in MS, so I was completely convinced that my links route was absolutely spot on, except there's some way better route for these blocks. Um, but there's not. That kind of block room is actually one of my favorite things to work on right now in the game. But yeah, I'm actually just going to hit onward here, and we're going to go just scroll up through my set list. Yeah, I'm going to show my links route for this block room. Like, look at that block slap. I spent a very long time just looking at this room, trying to figure out what the best way to do it was. Like I remember when I was going somewhere, I had a piece of paper and I mapped out that room. And after I mapped out the room, then, well, I routed the level on that piece of paper so many times, trying to count the moves and just see what it would be. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I ended up finding a trick without the stupid bug thing. Anyway, the monster cages. James, why did you find that the walker could do that? Why did you find that the walker could screw with the paramecia and give you this extra move? Um, I don't know, this one didn't take too long. The biggest thing is you have to wait a move for that ball, and that's just not nice if you don't know what's coming. So before wedges, which has a bit of a story, I want to actually go over to James' site and check something. Okay, yeah, James found that 263 a week after 262 was reported, so very early in the set. Okay, wedges. This level right here, I don't know if I've actually seen JB's public route for this. What I know I have seen is my own route, which this level right here, I had so much trouble finding bold on, but at the end of the day, I did find bold on it. And that was a really big confidence booster for just knowing, hey, I can actually handle blocks. Like I'm not hopeless when it comes to block tricks. And it's also a really fun level in links to figure out where you can sneak some slaps in and such. But yeah, I don't have too much to add to that other than um, let's just go over here and pull up my own. So this is my TWS. I want to see what my wedges was. I don't know if I actually have the .4. or if I only have a point .0. Because I know, I'm 99% sure that when I found it, I found a point .0, and I don't know if I ever went back and scored it properly. This looks the same, though. I'm just gonna speed it up. I can still follow at that speed. Yeah, this is the same. So I think I went back and rescored. Um, do I have anything else in here worth showing? Yeah. So Twister is one of those levels that I don't know. Why was this in the set? I mean, JB's here, so maybe he can answer that. Why is this level in the set? I mean, it's kind of cool that you never have to step on a floor tile, but it's one of the more questionable inclusions, I think. I guess it's good for like spring slide timing stuff. Um, I definitely had some different walking paths in my 315 that I scored versus this public one. This part in particular, like that is a left, 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 down, right, right, down, all at speed, which is a little trickier than it sounds, but still not that bad. Hey Shane, you didn't miss too much. Yeah. I do remember that when I did execute the score the first time, it took me quite a while. Um, excuse me. I know the route has 4 spare moves, but it took me so long to even just pull it off at all. And then Tetragons also took me a while. I settled for 280 on this originally because of the RNG, and I didn't find it. The big breakthrough was realizing that I could cut through the middle diagonally like that on these side rims. I had everything else right. Hey, Skyline. Oh, Andrew, you didn't hear the news, did you? Hornlets found a 209 on detonation station. But yeah, this block pushing here was another one of those things. This was, I think, one of the first things in the set I can remember specifically ghosting and just practicing and working out. So obviously this was a time before the Super CC, before Hourglass even. So I have this set lying around called onetestms.ccl, and I still use it occasionally, but lately I've been making more specialized sets for testing multiple facets of a level. Oh wow, that's even the perfect decimal. Nice. Um, Tiny is an easy route. So this is where you can see I'm using Tile World 2.1.1. I never liked how 2.2 did it. Like with the, what do you call it? The forced DAC. Anyway, square dancing. So this level right here, Ruben found the 264, and I distinctly remember, my initial idea for what that would be was actually correct. But when I counted out the moves, like I counted all the moves between chips, and I made a map of all the reasonable connections, and what I did was I counted out the moves and calculated that it would be a point 0.8 and that it would be one move off. And then nothing was coming close. Like I had a point 0.6. So then eventually I just give up on trying to find 264. I'm not finding it. And I play it out and it's 264. Because my move count was missing I guess, the move before the timer starts counting at the very start of the level. So I miscalculated and I had the route and I didn't score it, frustrated for a couple of hours. Uh, I've learned my lesson on that. if I'm not sure what the decimal is, actually play it out in some way. And I'll be mentioning that again later with something that's actually kind of funny. But this level, Feel the Static, is actually pretty interesting in that one, there are extra chips, and two, as you can see, you can find ways to take chips for free while doing the item swapping throughout the level. This one did take me a while to find. I was missing two moves really stupid, and I was not good at the time, and it took me a very long time to figure out what I had overlooked. And of course, execution was not exactly the easiest thing. So Chip Suey. This one's funny because the theoretical best time is actually better than the bold time. Hey Jesse, welcome to the stream. But nobody's ever going to score the theoretical best time here because it requires the walker to push the tank buttons for you a bunch of times. Um, I had a pretty rough time with this route too, actually. So really funny story about this one. I was 2 moves short. I was 2 moves short for a while. And I thought it was in these teleports because I did it like this. I think I did it exactly like that. And I showed both James and Mika, like, thank you to like both of them for being willing to help with this. Just like it's super welcoming. Just I'm stuck, and they didn't just like tell me what it was. They were like, "Hey, I think you're missing something in these teleports." So I spent a while looking there, and at the end of the day, I made a testing level. I timed things out, and it turns out that what Mika did was 2 cycles through the teleports that were equivalent, and what James did was left up, right, down, left up, right, down, left up, right, down, left up, right, down. So just 3 loops through the teleports. And he said Mika made things complicated. And at the end of the day, the joke was on them because I had all the moves there. I missed 2 moves in those blocks at the end. I don't have much to say on generic ice level. This was one of the routes that was made public before I got to it, so I just copied it. It doesn't strike me as too hard of a route to find, honestly. You kind of just go around the level. The most complicated thing would be if there was a block slide that was helpful, but there's not. Um, I do know that JB didn't have bold on this originally. He reported, I believe, 174. I'm gonna go check that actually. So site 21. Yeah, 174. Nicely done, Josh. Uh, and Jesse, you can take. Okay, I didn't know Shane had 174 too. And yeah, Jesse, you can take notes, but this is literally the public TWS. These are publicly available solutions. So repair the maze. This one was actually a really fun one to tackle. I don't think I have my maps for it anymore, but I made a what's the word? I made a edited version of the level where all of the locks were, I think I made them blue. No, what I did was I took the level, I looked at it, all of the locks that must be opened. No, I did make all the locks blue. I took all the locks that had to be opened and I left them red. And then I started working out, I think in yellow, the other locks that were potentially worth opening as shortcuts. And I tried to count out the moves on how much each one saved. And it did take a couple iterations, but it did not actually end up taking me too long. And no, you may not have the bold route to Flame War, JB, unless you give me all of your solution files for every set. And even then, probably not. Ah, circles. Okay. In what is definitely a recurring theme, I really struggled to find this one back in 2014. I don't know why. It's not a complicated level or route. It's just going around and picking up chips. No, Andy, JB wouldn't have to make them public. He'd just have to send them to me. There have been root trades in the past. I traded the last two moves on same game for something. I don't remember what. Oh, this one was super fun. I actually was really happy when I pulled this one off. Like you can see why this would take a while to pull off. Like it was all muscle memory. And there's extra chips and it's really hard to route and stuff. Um, and yeah, this was I think the first joint bolts in a CCLP1. I don't know if it was chronologically, but by level order, yeah, it's the first joint bolt. I had a lot of fun going for chips checkers. I could probably get a 343 again within about 5 minutes of trying. Um, but yeah, it took me a couple hours of grinding back in 2014 to pull it off. Um, I just want to. I'm gonna play this back in slow motion. I just want to appreciate that bonk there on that toggle wall. Like I just really want to appreciate that. That is one of those tricks that I think is really easy to miss, and it was one of the reasons why I was sad to see Triple Mint Slurpee go public in CCLP4. Because it has one of those, and you need it. Mind Lock is a level, I guess. I guess. I guess that is technically a level. Alright, Trafalgar Square. This one was fun. I'm gonna go double check the site after watching it. I love my chips under blocks levels. Excuse me. Um, and just like, I don't know, I spent a few hours on this after I found Bold, just trying to improve it farther. I think it was Mika who actually enlightened me on the multiple spring slides thing. Just because that does save some time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit onwards. We're going to back out. We're going to go back up to my links file. And we're going to go over here. We're going to hit links. Okay, now Mika did set the links record, but I matched it. So this one was really fun to find in links just because block slaps do help. Like, look at that. I don't know, this kind of level is still my favorite kind to work on. I don't know why. Let's go back to public down here. Alright, so, teleport Evo. This one, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy working out the teleport directions back then. If I were to do it again now, I think I would like it a lot more. And that boosting took me a little bit to pull off too, but now it's easy. It took me... Okay, the last Starfighter. So I'm actually not going to show the public solution for the last Starfighter. I'm going to show mine so you can see what I had. This one sucks. So as I said in my post, it took about an hour between blobs on a plane attempts. But I'd put like 6, 7 hours at least into this in the years before. So the big thing was when I watched the public solution, I noticed it cloned only 2 blobs. And I had been going with a 3 blob, and I realized immediately that that was making it a lot less likely, and that's probably why my luck was so terrible. I was grinding a less likely route. This still took me like a good amount of time on this approach, but after I think I made 3 run-throughs of the execution, and I went until I got 2 in a row, and it didn't take very long to get perfect execution a few times in a row. So after I got the perfect execution a couple times in a row, I was like, I'm going for this with the blob, and first time I had a blob blow up bombs for me, it worked. So those button presses scared me. Like, because you don't have an audio cue. You don't know what buttons are being pushed. And I probably would have reset on the spot if, one, I wasn't going to play out the rest for practice, and two, JB's route didn't have that happen. So yeah, those button presses scared me. Um, I do wish the last Starfighter was not like that. Uh, but yeah, Sky High or Deep Down. This one took me far longer than I would actually like to admit to pull off. Or not even pull off, just find. Like, I was not good back in my early CCLP1 days. I did notice you could just run through these gliders, that's one of those patterns that I think is really cool that you can do that for. Button Brigade, this one, cross check. I love those things where you have these like more advanced tricks or mechanics. Those are some of the more fun routes. Even if that one's just boost and you get, boost and you get it. Um, but managing this fireball and the toggles is kind of interesting, and pushing that block up, that is not an obvious thing to realize you need to do. But look at that no way. That's just beautiful. Quincunx. I was one move short on this. I found the route. I was one move short on the execution. And how should I put this? It took me a while on stream to pull it off, but I did manage it, and I still have that highlight. I was very, very happy. But look at that. Like, you don't have room for any errors here. And that ending, I screwed up that ending a few times. Because that's just, like, essentially, after you've done that rhythm of the whole time, you have to go. So, and that's just not easy to remember to do. Nitroglycerin is kind of, eh. It's a level. I like how scattered it is, and the chip collection's kind of interesting because there are loops. I guess it's more structurally interesting than a lot of mazes. In fact, most mazes in CCLP1 are more structurally interesting than most other mazes. And I definitely take a lot of cues from CCLP1's design when working on Ultimate Chip 4. Like, I definitely tried not to have just, this is a maze with a bunch of walls everywhere, but make things more interesting or involved than that. Did I always succeed? No. But I was still learning about how to design good levels then, just like I was learning about how to actually optimize now. And I'm still learning. I'm still getting better as I go. Like, this game is just so insanely, ridiculously deep. It's just, it is insane how deep the mechanics go. But I remember when I was routing this, I made the dumb mistake of prioritizing picking up chips on my way down to the buttons, and it took me a little bit to realize, wait, it doesn't actually cost me anything if I reorder my detours. And since then, you've got to reorder all the detours. Oh, spitting image. James, why? I was stuck on 955 on this for a while, like a really long while. Well, Shane, this is the bold route. If you want to copy a bunch of routes, there's a bunch of routes. So the big gimmick is the rooms are mirror images, or not mirror images, copies of the other room, except you have hidden information. So something about the room ordering and manipulating the teleport, just I don't know, it threw me off. So one nice thing about CCLP1 is none of the levels are all that long on their own. Just a bunch of letters. I don't remember much about this one, honestly. I really don't. I guess it's just a bunch of letters? But yeah, I really don't remember working on this, but I know I spent some time finding it. I don't know, this is one of those levels where like the shape of the chip patterns kind of enforces an overall structure. I don't mind cipher levels being a thing at all. I do think that the secret hint method is better, but I don't know. Motion blur is a good level on its own right, and it's a cipher level. I don't know. The gameplay shouldn't be sacrificed for the cipher, but um, it's hard to make a good level that also encodes something. Oh, Mystery Wall. This one threw me off for a long time too. Like, I swear, I'm saying that about half of these early levels, but it's true. I was genuinely not that good at finding these things. And of course, this is something I still do. When I'm missing a move somewhere, where do I think it is? But the most complex section of the level that I've already put the most effort into trying to find, and I missed something dumb elsewhere. So, anecdote from yesterday. So, life is not a puzzle. I found 661, then I found 663, but my 663 was missing 6 moves in the very first room. I don't know how I missed those 6 moves, but I did, like an idiot, and there was 664. But I also had a bad route. Like for this level, I was convinced there was some trick with that block cloner, but no, I was just doing this upper section inoptimally the whole time. That was all. That was literally all it was. That boosting's fun. Yeah, I don't think we've come up with, we've had 2 Josh records, but I don't think we've had any records that I've set yet. Have we? No, the first record I actually set would be Mini Pyramid, which is not being shown. So, oh, I hate Habitat, okay? I've spent a while looking for this, but ended up just copying the route when it was made public. This is the kind of level oh yeah, I set Spumoni, but I mean like chronological order in the set. Yeah, this one right here. This is the kind of route that I feel like should be public because it's mostly just trying all the variations until something sticks. Like it doesn't feel like there's much to be gained. That might just be me, and I'm I still come from a background where the roots are the things that are public and the execution's the hard part. So it's like I understand private routes. I have several myself. They make perfect sense. I'm fine with that and I like that. But at the same time, this feels like one of those levels that gained nothing by not being hidden. I feel like I just worded that wrong. Regardless, like that's habitat. Oh boy, before I go to heat conductor, which is the first non-bold I'm going to be showing here, um, I want to see what JV says feels like one of those levels. Yeah, Andrew, that's right. Habitat is the kind of route where nothing is really gained by the route being hidden, other than a couple points for one person, until somebody else bothers to try all the variations. Okay, busting out is 100% like that. I agree completely. There's probably some degree of idea to it, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's much to be gained. Um, I don't think heat conductor should be released because it is actually an interesting chip collection pattern. Like finding that is not trivial. Wow, that execution! Who put this in here? Tyler. Wait, Ruben's program can seriously find this? But the chip collection uses the teleports. Uh, Ruben has a traveling salesman problem thing. Does Ruben's program have ice and force floors? Basically, I'm thinking, hey, can it route cold fusion reactor for me? But yeah, the funny thing about heat conductor here is that when I was routing it, I had B minus 2 in MS. What? That oof, oof. Um, but yeah, when I was routing this, I had B minus 2 in MS and like B minus 7 in links because my route had so many extra teleports in it. Oh my god! I can see why you went back and improved this, Tyler. I counted 4 moves of easy errors and bad teleports. Alright, onward to Dig and Dig, which... Is there anything to say about this level? You just kinda do it. Seaside is much the same. I mean, you kind of just route the overall structure of the islands and everything else falls into place. This level right here, though. Can you imagine if you needed to bridge from island to island? Somebody should make a level mod where you have to actually bridge from island to island. Like, just remove the recessed walls and the ice and call it a level. Coming soon to a TCCLP rejects near you? Maybe? All right, descending ceiling was a really interesting case, not because of MS, which wasn't too hard to find, but because of links. So at the time, the links record was 160. Somebody else had 159. And I remember thinking to myself, how is that possible? The tanks move on this 3-second cycle, so how do you get a time that isn't on that cycle? So I took a look, and I don't remember how it works, but we're gonna watch that route now. So I took a look, and I thought, and realized there must be two distinct tricks at the end of the level. Or I should say, there must be a cycle somewhere that can be gained that isn't obvious, and there must be some other trick at the end of the level. So if I combine those, then wouldn't I get a new record? So I worked out the route, and I don't remember what the trick actually was, just that there was. I guess it was leaving those chips behind. Yeah, leaving those chips behind, I guess I had won. And I got a new record on descending ceiling and links. And that was pretty fun. Just because I was starting to set records. And then we go into this level, which is the first really long and boring level of CCLP1. And I never found bold on this on my own, and I'm glad I didn't because there's 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 this block pushing section up here, and there's this walker cycle, and you have to manage so many little things, and not my favorite thing to try to work on. Yeah, I believe off the top of my head, the two longest routes in the set are Utter Clutter at 234 seconds and Elemental Park at 204. Um, and then this one comes in at 181. So what comes in between those two values? Don't tell me. Is it Clubhouse? No, Clubhouse is... No, it might be. I don't remember the exact value on Clubhouse. I know it's not Thief You've Taken All, that was me. Okay, it's 430. I thought it might have been 410. Do you have the 430 route, Tyler? No, I'm not commenting too much on the route itself here. It's because I don't have much to add. And then this part at the end is just... Well, let me put my choice in the chat. This part of the route is just... I wish there was some way to break it. Man, so what is the third longest route in CCLP1? Yeah, if this is fourth, then what's third? Oh well. We'll just watch Gears while I think about it, because Gears is a super trivial route. I mean, I don't think it's one of the untimed levels. That would be third longest. No, Metal Harbor's right. So that's 801. That comes in at 198. Man, that was a surprising record from James when it was set. But like in hindsight, it was super obvious. Honestly, the more fun thing about Metal Harbor is the Lynx route. So I remember the thing I remember about this level is not that I didn't route it. Mika posted a bunch of AVIs, and this was one of them, and I copied it. It took me a while because I was bad at boosting. I could pull this off basically every time now. I kind of wish there were a few more shortcuts in the level than there actually are. But I do like the scattered aesthetic of all of these thin walls. But you know what would have been a better level than Frozen Labyrinth in the set? Possibly the worst maze to exist. Because it is possibly the best maze to exist. I don't know, I really like the excuse me. I really like the gimmick of that level. So when I was trying to score this originally, back in 2014, the biggest obstacle was, well, remembering the route more than anything else. Like, the execution's not trivial, but it's not difficult either. But remembering when to slide and where you can and where you can't is not an easy task, especially before you're used to remembering these multi-minute routes. Um, there's a reason that most of my early bolds were on shorter levels. And I remember at least once, I think only once, I screwed up this part here. Like my walking path back it overshot the exit. So who's the boss in MS is um, one of those things where Lynx is the more interesting one. And Lynx is only interesting because this was the level that put Shift O on the map for most people. Let me see what the decimal on that was. That was a .4 that I found. I swear I remember somebody saying there was a .8 route. Sapphire Cavern. This was a really fun one to route. Like, this is one of those interesting dual layered collection levels. And just finding the last improvement to actually get to 286. I don't remember what it was, but it was a pretty interesting one to find. I think it involved that chip inside of the D-shaped structure, honestly. But I could be remembering wrong. I don't know. I like how you don't get that blue key near the start at the start. Oh, okay. So this is the first of two levels I don't have the bold to. Damn it, James. So the big thing about this route here is just I know I have a better time than this right now. I'm not going to go too much into what it requires, but I am going to say that this route right here I put in, and it felt like the obvious route that you couldn't do better than. But no, there are a couple of ways to do better, and I found one of them that translated to links, and then JB also found another one like shortly after. I don't know, it was weird. Uh, or Isaac or whatever said he found two moves on this, and I'm not surprised. But I can tell you that if you want to find something in the 950s, you really do need a totally different approach. Uh, I know why this level is 48, but it is so much easier than the stuff before it, and it's so much shorter. Um, that the level order is very slightly questionable. And you can tell that was played by somebody used to MSTC. Alright, 49 cell. So this is another non-bold route. Um, I don't know, this one took me a long time to find. I think this was a 2016 find. This is actually pretty good boosting, honestly. Like, this is a lot harder than it would make you think. Ooh, that risky move. But yeah, there are a few different routes that are worth considering, and only one of them gets you 430. It was one of the biggest "this route can't be real" moments I had when going through early CCLP1. Obviously, it is real. I think I like compared notes with James on it a couple times, and we were just like, and then eventually we both realized, oh wait, you can do this one thing and it just works. I think it went something like that. Oh, that wait at the end hurt to see. I think that wait could have been avoided if you'd gone down instead of right to finish the level, but I'm not sure offhand. So the grass is greener is some randomness, but it's so much easier than other randomness. Like, it is ridiculous. Wow, running next to the blob. Whose is this? Is this mine? I feel like this is probably mine. Okay, Tyler's. Okay. With the minus 0.5. Nice. Alright, so I could show the perfect minus 0.7 that James hourglassed, but why would I show the perfect minus 0.7 that James hourglassed when that's not what you want to see? You're here to see this imperfect one that I played out. Though it's going to look very, very similar. So, I've explained this a few times, but if you drop even one boost in the second and third rooms, you drop an entire move to that spring slide. So I had a very, very clean run up until that top part. If you look closely, you can see small moments of hesitation. And minus 0.9, just, no, I'm not doing that again. I did it. That got me Melinda. I'm not doing it again. Let's look at some nice slow block pushing. But yeah, I had a very, very clean H2O for most of that attempt. So I did try the quote step mania method where I make a chart of the inputs at the right time, which I got the inputs at the right time from um, Super CC, and I that did get me a better feel for the exact input rhythm. But other than that, it was like playing off of that didn't work. I had to go to the actual level. So that little time saver is one of those cool little things that I learned while going through CCLP1. Okay, start at the end. This thing has a bit of a tail. I found the route that was 410, um, but the bold, the step for it, I had the step for it wrong at the end. And then that force floor section is really just, it's really brutal. Much harder than anything else I'd gone for at the time. And having to do all, like that ice slide at the start every time the walker screwed you over. Lendag. Um, yeah, like the teleport didn't ever really give me trouble. It was this section down here, which comes over a minute in, and I took dozens of tries before I finally managed to just scrape that through. I was surprised. You could tell I was surprised to get through that. It took me 2 tries because the first time I had the wrong step on the teeth because I had misjudged that. And I've never liked needing to determine the right step for teeth for moves like that. The first time that happened, I did get a 409. Alright, mini pyramid. I kind of regret making this point 8 public. Also, Indy, that bust is actually totally intended, according to JB. So yeah, that is one move away from 236. And before I move on, I want to talk about that a little bit. This was the first, in chronological order, the first new record I set in CCLP1. And it took me, I spent so many hours trying to find a 236. You can see that the 235 stood for 5 months after Mika found a 233, and it was improved by 2 seconds the same level, or the same day. And I found it, because this is some live play. Like, the suction boots are under that block, and I'm pretty sure that's what Mika missed. Or, sorry, what JB originally missed and Mika found. And so the start, no. Like, the start is just super obvious, because, like, that is so clean. Or is it? And then just, like, over here, there's so many little tricks. And I found the record on this level in links too. And I would show my links route, but the decimal for it is actually close to 232, and I haven't given up on finding it someday. Um, excuse me. The Chambers is a super easy level. But yeah, like Mini Pyramid was hours and hours of searching and trying to find it, and then eventually it had one breakthrough, and that one insight worked for the rest of the level, and it's like, oh my gosh, wait, this actually works. But yeah, the Chambers is boring. You just go around and pick stuff up. There are gliders. Didn't Ryan find some weird record in here in links? I don't know. I half cared about CCLP1 links for a while, and then I realized that I wasn't finding too much, and decided my efforts would be better spent focusing on one like rule set and set or whatever. Just like focus the efforts, get more done, and at the end of the day, Melinda. Nice 2-move wait. Who put this in the TWS? Was it me? It was me. Yeah, the next level was also put in by me, but this is another really, really easy route to find. I mean, you just go around and pick up chips. I do like these recessed wall things, and the most interesting parts about the recessed wall stuff is the fact that if you have the level structured correctly, you can actually force passing straight through a chip and then passing back through that same chip perpendicular later. It's not easy to force that, but it's one of those things that can really throw somebody off, and it's really cool. Looking at the scoreboards, yes, Shane, you did confirm connect the chips. So key farming. Yeah, this was, as Tyler says, boost farming. There are a lot of boosts in this level, and it took me quite a while to score this one on my first pass. Even though there are 4 spare moves, it is not an easy feat to get that start. I think when I did score it, I did lose all 4 moves, but I'm not certain. Obviously, I no longer have my initial solve because I went back and got the decimal later. Yeah, these were fun walls to work with for that create. I will say that I had more fun working with some other walls, I think, but the the soccer band near the start was definitely my favorite part. All right, Corral. I have not watched this. I know JV went and got. I'm pretty sure he went and got the perfect decimal. So very much looking forward to seeing this. Also, Andrew, sorry I haven't watched the rest of Ultimate Chip 6 yet. I obviously got sidetracked by getting Melinda. So JB, if you're still here, when you were trying to score this, were you just going for the optimal decimal, or did it just kind of happen? Like, was this specifically targeting the .8, or just happened to get it? Okay. I think when I got this, I got like a .2. And it also just kind of happened. I was going for a random improvement, and I happened to get the bold. We are not done with blob levels yet, though. Oh no. We have the worst luck grind I think I've ever gone through in this game coming up. In another, I don't know, we've got 2 of the worst luck grinds I've ever gone through in 40 and 60-ish levels, respectively. So shoutouts to James for putting this one in the public TWS. He found, I think, 2 moves over anyone else on it. Oh yeah, launch. Launch is actually worse than Blobs on a Plane was in terms of time. I'm not even kidding. I know that's just ridiculous, but it's true. Guard was a fun route to find. I liked how there were options here, and, well, the options actually worked. Shane, Wedge, Kleemanhaga. So, Andrew, I'm assuming anyway that the blue walls down there were to trap the teeth, such that you didn't have to do that move. Ooh, highways. This one was actually way easier to both remember and score than I expected it to be when I got it. I remember that. I thought it was going to be like rank, but worse. But no, this is easier than rank. Like this is so much easier than rank. It's easy because all even slides means no spring slides, even though I have more trouble with that timing than like the 2-tile one than the 3-tile one. Um, but no, it's way easier because it's shorter, there's less doubling back, and structurally it's much clearer where you have to go. All right, design swap. This one took me a while to find. Um, and I actually had a 345 for a bit because I found a trick that only like it works in both rule sets in the bottom right, but it saves a second in links. So I found the record in links by doing that. I'm pretty sure it's public. If not, well, now you know how to get 341. It's, yeah, like the links route for this is better than the MS route. It's just kind of back and forth and back and forth. You know what make this level better? Speed boots. You know what's not in this game? Speed boots. But yeah, I did spend quite a while looking at this one, trying to find bold before it eventually turned up. I don't even remember what I did differently to get to 346. That weight. And this was another case where remembering the route was pretty difficult as well, just because, well, which way do you go? Even with a map on the side, I still struggled for some reason. That double clone, I don't even remember. Do you have to double clone? I think you do if it was done in the route, so. But I don't even remember. Okay, you don't, but it saves 2 moves. Or rather, um, you don't need to beat the level, but you do to get the bold. Alright, new block in town. I did not like this level when I first played the set. I'm still not really a fan. But I do like this route. Like, I just want to say, shout outs to James for this. Like, this find is really cool. Oh, this level! This one! Ah! That move right there! That drove so many people crazy. I had 44.8 and I was so sure I was losing a move somewhere and then I couldn't find it. I couldn't score it and this level's hard. And no, it's just the sidesteppy thing that was so unintuitive. And I even spent a while like looking at that top section with those chips, thinking it could work and find something, but no. Yeah, the sidestepping at the corner saves one move each time you do it. All right, squared in a circle. So I this one right here is, if I remember right, James yasked this one out and got 1 second. But the interesting thing about this level is not the MS route. I mean, yeah, there's some block pushing, but the interesting thing here to me is the Lynx route. Because if you look at the evolution history, you'll see that 414 and Lynx happened before the 428 in MS, which the two moves that brought it to 428 made the route totally free. The 414 totally free in Lynx. Without that, you had to find one trick on the old MS route. Plus, Ryan found two moves on his own, which was super awesome. But I found a trick that used some block slaps, and I will show that after this finishes playing out. And that was one of those things that I was just trying to find anything else, and then all of a sudden, just compare notes, and hey, we found something. What? So yeah, let's go up here. I don't think I've ever shown this before. But yeah, keep an eye on the top right, because the top right is where I found the thing. That double slap move. That is what I found. Like, slap. And you just go back over and slap. So you don't push that one up for 4 moves. Yeah, that's so weird, but it saves you 4 moves on pushing time and 2.5 on splash delay time, and then costs you 4 later. So it saves you the entire splash delay. The rest of the route is the same as the old 427, but you don't need that to get 414 anymore. That made me sad. So this is an old route that I put in. It's not optimal by any stretch, but it's a route, and it's better than Mika's competition route on this level. I kind of just improvised this, I remember. Finding 289 here was cool, but I wish I had looked a little closer. Just because 290 turned out to not just be possible, but, well, let's put it this way. I have a 290.6 on this. Like, if 291 is possible, I fully expect Bicorn to find it, because it's a teeth level. But then again, the paths are so rigid for most of it that it's probably not. Alright, another non-bold in booster shots. So I don't think I've actually seen this route. Wait, don't look at your bad route. This is a Tyler route? Awesome. The main thing about trying to find bold on this is apparently there are a few different 302s. I think James said he found a .4. I am going to point out right there. There's an improvement right here, Tyler. Have you not seen on the rocks? Just in the absence of anything else. that little block slide is, I think, the first thing that JB was originally missing, because it lets you take a more efficient route in these blocks. Like, you skip a block, and the block's just already there while you're doing another section. Um, and then the intersection I remember is like communism light. I wonder if that's what inspired Trevor to make it. And I don't remember, but I think there are a few different ways to do it. But yeah, booster shots was a fun route to look for. All right, Flames and Ashes. This was another one that Mika made public, so I never actually looked for, so I don't have much to comment on. It's just kind of a route. That's kind of funny. Single block monster manipulation levels are something that I ended up making a bunch of. And that's basically what this route turns out to be, a single block monster manipulation level. I do like that you have multiple blocks. This is totally unsolicited and unnecessary, but I feel like this level would have been a little more fun if you only had so many blocks to work with. Say like 4 and you had to manage them. Anyway, double diversion. Ah. So this was a really weird case that I couldn't find the route. I couldn't. And then all of a sudden I found it and I have no idea what I did differently. Josh L3 confirmed better than CCLP1. I don't even remember what I missed. I just know I missed something. Like, it's so weird with this one. I think the most interesting thing about double diversion is how the symmetry kind of can result in some differences just based on the fireballs. But yeah, it's a level. Juxtaposition's obviously just a maze. The way I worked this one out was a map, obviously. But my map, I replaced all of the tiles you never step on with clone machines, and replaced all the blue walls you step on with dirt, and all the blue walls you don't step on with regular walls. And essentially, I just ransacked the level to make a much clearer picture to play off of, and it still took me a little while to score. But it made the route a lot clearer to find. I think the coolest part about juxtaposition is how you have these sections of just thin walls and just blue walls at the edges, like the extremes of the level. I kind of wish those sections were a little larger, but um, it's a good level. It's a tough one to remember, though, even with the route. Oh boy. Coming up next is Tree. This thing right here took me a while to score after it was made public, even. Like, this is legitimately one of the top 10 hardest routes in the entire set. I am dead serious. So the teeth step doesn't matter, but you have to be perfect. Just because of the glider cycle, which I think you go and deal with. No. So if you lose one move, then you lose more than that to these fireballs. And obviously you don't want to lose more than that to the fireballs. And all of that boosting is so much harder than it looks to get right. And then you have to do this part. Look at that. Look at all of those extra overrides. And after all that, you still have to not screw up. No spare moves at the gliders. Like, look at that weight. Like, I'm pretty sure James hourglassed that, but I'm not sure. And then I was convinced there were more moves in these blocks, but there aren't. If only there were, it wouldn't help. Okay. Breathing room, what? Like, this honestly, breathing room feels like start at the end. It really does feel like a start at the end rehash. Except smaller. Occupied isn't bold here, is it? No. So this is B minus 9. So, might as well talk a bit about the routing process here. Basically, all I did was match up the buttons to their things and then try and hit the buttons and then get the chips and then go back. And I had fun routing it. I like this level, but it is not necessarily the easiest thing to tackle, especially when you have to deal with monster cycles getting in your way. And I don't remember if it's the case, but it, like in the bold route, but sometimes waiting to, wow, totally could have pushed up the block there before dealing with that. It might be better to wait a move before pushing the block onto the trap button, just to delay the monsters and have them not be in your way later. Weight management. Yeah, now this occupied is Josh's. Oh, Josh said it, not Tyler. Sorry, misread the chat there. Onward to Traveler. Which, let me double check the decimal on this. Okay, so I'm not going to show the public one. I'm going to show my own personal Traveler because the decimal on the public route is a .8, and I'm pretty sure I found better than that and just didn't execute it perfectly. It took me a while to do, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. If it is, I will get the better route at some point and make it public. I haven't seen any mistakes, just kind of sloppy play. That was clean. That was especially clean compared to a lot of the other stuff. So now we have some teeth manipulation. That is an interesting tidbit about the root. Just that in theory you could maybe not push the toggle button. Okay, looks like I don't have anything special there. So toggle tank at the halfway point. I like how this introduces the idea, but level's not too hard to find, just because it is so rigid. I'm honestly kind of surprised mouse clicks don't come in handy here. Like just a little bit. That shuffle is pretty cool though. And then of course the leave the block so you push it later trick. Okay, fun fair. So fun fact, I actually looked at this level last night to see if there was anything else. I threw this in, and I actually found one move over this solution, but I will not be putting it in the public TWS because it is in this section right here. You can save one move in that carousel by doing it differently, but it requires a half weight several times. So, yeah, let's just stick with the point 4. Rest of the level is pretty straightforward. When I was first looking at this level, actually, back in 2014, 2015, I was really worried about this room on the left coming up because I thought you needed good luck on the random force floors in order to get the bold, but no, you actually don't ever set foot on them. Or rather, you don't need to set foot on them. You can, but it all gets equalized. Um, I was able to find a really weird way with good luck to get an equivalent route in there, but not at all worth it. Um, Whee! That oof, what? Oh, it equalizes at those balls. Okay. Go past me. I mean, I guess it just shows there's a spare move. Shuttle Run has nothing to say. You go back and forth, and it's super ridiculously obvious and takes everybody like one try unless they die to a ball. Gotta love the 3-move wait. That's gonna be the only time you hear that ticking noise. Okay, Secret Passages was a level where I was pretty sure there had to be more back then, but I can see now it's pretty obviously demonstrably optimal here. But I played out the route with minor variations on probably like a dozen times, and it was just um, always a 533, and I was just so sure there had to be more. I hadn't yet learned that, hey, that's not the case. This was a fun little routing task, though, given the keys you have to spend. And we get another super ridiculously basic to route level in elevators. No, no, you forgot a step, Andrew. Don't wait unnecessarily is an important step in getting this bold route, too. Flip side, this was one I put off when I initially passed through CCLP1, just because I was scared of the walkers and I didn't want to throw away throw away any attempts. I just wanted to get it, and the teeth scared me with routing stuff out, and it was just the level was. It did not seem like a fun time to look at, but when I eventually did, the routing for it was not very difficult, and the walkers never got in the way. Well, almost never got in the way. I think I died once to them. That's a cool little moment. That was a one move wait. That's an inoptimal decimal. It was mine! Alright, colors for extreme. Shoutouts to James for busting this. At least I think it was James who found the bust originally. I hope I credited the right person. Yes, okay, it was. I was very confused when this bust dropped. Just how was there that much time to be saved? And then eventually just the breakthrough of the ice section and how you didn't need to nice boosting from JB there. But yeah, my first attempt at this route that actually finished, I actually scored it, but I had 899 because my score was inoptimal. But using only one recessed wall there is pretty cool and lets you totally break the level. And you don't need the yellow key. Alright, here we are. Launch. Oh, launch. There are a bunch of different ways to do this chip collection, but the big thing about launch is all the random force floors out there. So this route is actually not my personal 96. This is one that I manipulated the RNG after the fact to get just as a demonstration of the 96.2. So what you're about to see is completely perfect luck. Um, so you have to slide over 3 random force floors there and override one or boost off of the water tile, or you lose a move. I kept runs that did that when I was grinding for the 96, but if I was more than one move down, what's the point? And then you need that. Yeah, that last section is just so ridiculously brutal. Like, it is an insane grind to go for 96. But it took me more time than it took either of you guys together, so... Oh, I don't mind the first part. Also, Shane, I also came up with the exact same thing of 95.8, but that was with maximum overrides. It took me a while later to realize that you could save a move at the first part, and then when I looked again, you could also save a move at the second part. Give me a moment, though. Alright, Stuffy Nez. So Ruined World was level chips under blocks, and it was pretty interesting with the monsters, but not that hard to find. Mining for gold keys was a really, really interesting level to try to root, with the block pushing and having to go out of your way for stuff and then loot back. Um, yeah, sorry if anybody thought the stream froze there. Stuffy Nose had to deal with that. I'm feeling pretty much entirely better from being sick this last week. Yeah, I don't have too much to say on this level. It's pretty straightforward other than not getting that one chip you passed by earlier. I will also say that working out the way to do that block pushing took me a little bit. Because that's actually a really cool little block pushing section. Just all of the ways to manage the timing on this is really cool. and then passing back through there because now you have enough yellow keys. That's probably one of the best parts of the route, honestly. So black hole. So fun fact about this level here, um, my original 971 on it did something very stupid. It went and what did it do? It went and got the chip down by the teleport down there. It went and got that one immediately, and then went back up, and then went back down. And yet still got 971. Just not as good of a 971. Starry Night took me a while to crack when I looked for it. Not because of any ordering here, or the boosting, or anything. I don't even know what. I felt like I had it, but I didn't actually have it. I mean, the boosting wasn't necessarily easy for me. I didn't understand spring slides, so I definitely lost a move or two when I did that part. Oh, that partial post. I didn't do that when I found 309. Alright, Pluto's a really cool route. Like, this one's actually a really, really cool one. Um, like, the coolest thing about it is you've got this big ice thing in the middle, but, well, who says you need to use the big ice thing? Like, it's a big ice thing. You have a block cloner, and you can totally just block slide. So that was something that I had noticed when I had first taken a look at the level, but I was nowhere near skilled enough to actually put together the rest of this route at the time, or, work out the timing. So it took me a while later, and I think I eventually just ended up copying the route when it was made public. I don't remember the timeline on that. I can tell you there are definitely better routes in this set than Pluto, but Pluto's a really cool one. Like, I would personally rank Mini Pyramid 236 above it, at least mine. James's was different, and his is so weird. Look at that intercept. Look at that cycle timing. It's so perfect. And so you get to skip that entire block pushing section there for flipping the tank and stuff. It's really nice. I messed up the bug section at least once when I was going for this, actually. I know that's probably a surprise. And you just stroll to the exit. Alright, so this is a B minus 20 route, but this is something I kind of half planned out. Um, James isn't going to get anything about the level from this, I don't think. But yeah, this was very, very loosely planned, if even at all. Like, look at that stopping to think. I'm not going to put any improvement to this in the public TWS, so if somebody wants a better route for this to be public, they're going to have to do it themselves. Like, this was the result of playing the level a few times and just seeing what I got. Shane, why am I leaving chips all over the place? Because you pass back through those paths later. Because you have to go around and get the keys, and then you have to go back around later and open up the locks. Yeah, nobody ever said that all of these solutions that were public were good, just that they were public. So if somebody wanted to beat this score, they totally could very easily just by copying it without those weights. Hey, got that one perfect at least. All right, Chip Grove City. This was a really weird one. It honestly felt almost like fourplex light to work on. Almost exclusively because of the top right section of the level, but also the fact that there's some degree of execution and other trickery to it. So I don't remember who added this, but, you know, I like the route. It's a pretty cool route. It took me quite a while to actually score just because of the force floor room. Yeah, don't have too much to add. I ghosted the glider room, but this force floor room, that looks so easy now, like compared to what it used to look like. Maybe it's just the approach. I don't know. Like that room is interesting. Like it's actually a reasonable room to tackle in the fourplex style, and that is not an easy thing to create. Because those kinds of rooms get so complex so fast. It's just ridiculous. And of course, then you have this little stroll to the end. Okay, I need to do something real quick. .315 is no longer public. I improved the public. There we go. So this is the new public route. And this is something that was, I specifically put together to make public today. It is not optimal. It is not properly planned. It's not even perfectly executed. But it is in fact a better route, and hopefully the ideas here help people find something in the 330s. Um, Interestingly enough, I actually found 343 on this first. A couple people had 342.8 or some variation of it, and I found a 343.0. And you can tell from this level that it's very not easy to get perfect. So I actually went and I got the perfect run. And then I found another move. And then I executed with that move and got it perfect. And then compared to when JB got it, we compared, and there was another move that I had actually missed, and I haven't actually scored with that move, but you know, don't need to. So Roundabout gave me a lot of trouble when I first tried to find it. I don't know why. I guess I just wasn't used to leaving chips behind to help manage weights and routes and stuff. This is colony easy mode. This is not Snakes and Ladders hard mode. This is most definitely more colony easy mode. Yeah, realizing you could leave 2 chips in that glider room was, I think, the last breakthrough. All right, the shifting maze. So this is another one I specifically made public. I'm going to tell you right now, there are some glaringly obvious flaws in this route. That was intentional, such that anybody who actually looks at this and copies it gets 821, and anybody who looks a level deeper and tries to improve on it will get something better than that. I think with this, pretty much anybody could get something in the upper 820s. Whether anyone will, who knows? But 830, I ended up with an 827 from my initial pass at this. Like when I actually tried to take it seriously. Bold was 834 at the time. And over the coming, I think months even, just go back to it every so often, find something, and end up with an 832. Eventually, somehow I ended up collaborating with JB, and I think it was because I had found something on the left side that was better, and ended up with 835 as a result of that, which is all well. No, wait, no. This, I think what happened there was no, we got the 835, and then James and Mika reported the 837, and we both went what? And a while later, and a lot of ideas and attempts, we ended up cracking it with a. I think we had a different route, but I don't think we ever properly compared 837s. But yeah, this level is one that feels really reasonable to tackle until you start getting into those 830s. And then once you're there, it's like, where am I supposed to find anything? I will say that one of the big jumps from not 827 to 827, one of the last things I had found, was something that's going to be pointed out up here. That you can fill in one less water space than is obvious. Indy, if you're curious about how different this route is, wouldn't it be best to find 837 to find out? All right, Flame War 322 public. So this is one move away from a 323, and this route is now B minus 5. I had a 323 before James's 326 report, and James' 326 report was just absolutely bonkers. Like, not just because it had 326, which was B plus 3, but also because, hey, suddenly surprise Melinda. And that day I found a 324. That very day I found a 324. And James and JB managed to confirm the 326. So I let the level sit. I I figured I'd crack it eventually, maybe, but wasn't too concerned about it. I had other things to work on. I had non-chips challenge stuff I wanted to do, and well, at that point in time, just other stuff. And then about a week ago, James reports 845 on Badlands. And I go and I look at the Badlands and I find an 844.8, which was a one move improvement over my old route. It's completely different. I found some extra moves. And at the end of the day, James and I were like compared a couple things, just like general questions about the route and just I found this, that's cool. Updating, talking about the game. And all of a sudden we realize, wait, we have 846. So we combine and get 846. But this now has me looking at CCLP1. And it's been a while since I've looked at Flame War. And there's somebody else who's really good, especially at dealing with teeth, who's active now in Bacorn. So I asked him if we want to collaborate on Flame War, and I share my routes. He says he had a 323.6 that was very similar to my 323.8, and 320, and I show my 324, and he's like, "That's completely different." And whoa! Before very long, uh, like literally a couple minutes later, there is a 324.4 that gets posted, and there's an improvement on that just immediately. Um, then I found a 325. Then he improved that 325. Then I improved that 325 to a 326. Then he also improved that to 326. And then a little bit later, 327. And at the moment of that 327, I'm like, wait. I said I had to go for this. So at that moment, I was like, the only thing preventing me from from replicating James' report, his epic Flame War report, was this level right here getting the blob luck, this level right here getting the execution, and this monstrosity. That was it. That was all that was holding me back at that point. So I went for it. And I went for it. And I got it. And at the end of the day, CCLP1 Melinda was mine. And then Jeepers Creepers happened! And it wasn't, and then it was. Anyway, Slime Forest was actually kind of interesting to root because it has some loops in the maze structure. And the big thing I did here was add some walls. Like replace all the blobs with walls, add more walls on all the tiles you'll never step on, and just play from that. And it worked. I ended up finding bold with very little difficulty. I don't know, the aesthetic of this level is nice. And this is obviously the part that inspired the bottom left of Paradigm Shift, which is funny because I got a new record on that yesterday. That was a fun level to root. Didn't even take as long to execute as you might have expected given the bottom right of Paradigm Shift. I know I'm talking about something completely different than Slime Forest, but that's because Slime Forest has nothing going on. Alright, Courtyard, the walkers don't matter, the cycles don't matter, the level's super ridiculously basic to root. It's kind of surprising how basic this level is to root, given what it is. You would you would expect a level like this to be more complex. I like how all of those tank moves were one move down, except for that one, which was even more than that down. Who put this in here? Is that me? No, it's Tyler. Yeah, your weights are inoptimal, my dude. I know this level gets equalized ridiculously. It is honestly kind of insane how hard this level gets equalized. How did you beat his score by 4 seconds? What the heck did JB miss? Alright, going underground. So this one was weird, because this was a luck grind back in whenever Mika set 408. I found the route on the de-randomized version pretty fast, but actually scoring it... Oh, actually scoring this took hours. Would not recommend, unless you need the point. Look at those multiple risk deaths. Pretty sure this one's not mine, because I had a one move. Yeah, okay, that's a move off of optimal, but I also lost a move in my run, down in that bottom left, in that bottom right section. Let's actually just go watch mine real quick from whenever I set it. So I wonder if this is a different route. Looks the same so far. Nope, that's different. I wonder whose route is more likely. Yeah, you're about to see an oof. But thankfully, you have that oof to spare. I would not have been happy without that. Um, Next up is Gatekeeper, which Gatekeeper's pretty basic level, honestly. There's not really too many options, or any options in this part. The most interesting thing here is probably that this part, to nobody's surprise at all, inspired a section of a Walls of CCLP4 level. You get absolutely 0 points if you successfully guess the level. This is a fun one to find, though. Not like there's anything too crazy, but there's just enough going on that's not obvious that it took me a little bit at the time. I think this upper section is the weaker part of the level, honestly. I would have liked to see I would have liked to see a more complex version of the lower section. Also, these boosts threw me off at the time as well. It's not like they're hard, but when you're not good at it yet. Speaking of boosting, we're going to watch Rat Race. So I would say Rat Race is actually one of the harder to execute routes in the entirety of CCLP1, and that's saying a lot because there's some tough stuff in here. I mean, the cycles here are not very hard to work out or execute, but that ice section at the top is vicious. It does not, it does not give you any breaks. But that isn't even the most difficult Andrew Menzies ice section in the set. Yeah, you might have noticed that half weight on one of those tiles. That's necessary. Costs no actual moves due to a spring slide afterwards. Like, this section took me a very long time to actually score. Deserted Battlefield. This is still one of the biggest surprise records that I think we've had. No, Culprit. Culprit's ice section is more vicious than that of Rat Race. I honestly find Chips Checker is easier than either of those, just because it is a constant pace and it's much shorter. But I'm fully aware I'm probably in the minority on that. That was a half weight, wasn't it? Why was there a half weight there? Anyway, time suspension. All right, I've talked about this route before. This took 6 hours on a Sunday straight. So, have we learned the dangers of walkers yet? No? Okay. So, the big thing here is the record was 844, and it seemed to be pretty solid at 844. But it's not. Obviously, the record is 849, which is what it is. So, that's because what I noticed was, hey, we can totally bring this block down here. So what I noticed was that you have just enough time to do it like this. And if the walker has to not bounce into that other path, then it has to bounce up here and while you're in this upper section before you go back down. And then it has to stay up here and blow up a bomb for you by bouncing off a tank. And once it does that, you still have to deal with the upper walker. So, when I spotted this, I actually went to JB with it immediately because of the time. Oh yeah, I don't have alerts on this scene. I'm sorry, Jesse. Thank you for the 200 bits. 300 bits. So basically, what I noticed was that the walker thing, and I went to JB because I wasn't confident in my ability to find an optimal route at the time. And I didn't want to grind out the walker twice. Did anybody want to grind out the walker twice? Um, but as the result of that, JB had the route. And we compared on de-randomized, and we were pretty confident in 849. And it was going to be a joint bold. So I spent the 6 hours and I scored it, and then JB didn't. he did not immediately go and score it. And wasn't going to for a while. And at the end of the day, just was like, yeah, just report it. I don't care. And so I reported it, and it was a record. So you have one spare move at that glider, and it's a .6. So you have 4 spare moves overall, I believe. It might only be 3 that you can lose to the walker at the top there, but you don't have to have perfect luck. I'm just glad that I did to demonstrate the decimal. So Frozen in Time, obviously one of the easiest. Frozen in Time with some moving monsters is totally an amazing level. Wait, how do you miss Frozen in Time's bold? This is probably not the level you think it is, Shane. Hey, Red Slash. Alright, Portcullis. This one is... Man, this one took me so long to find. I don't know why, it's not that complicated. Whoa, thanks for the sub. I actually, like I said, I don't have alerts on the scene right now. I'm actually gonna go fix that because I can do that easily. Global source alerts. Okay. Hello? Thank you. Edit scene, put that there. Okay. So just because I can, and I have those there now. I finished the set in 8.5 hours. Cause go me. Alright, so. Yay! I did the thing. I don't have follow alerts, I never liked those. Huh. You wanna know something dumb? I can't repeat those bit events, so. Oh well. Let us go back to the public TWS viewing with Hotel Chip. I believe James used a solver for the overall structure of this, and it just happened to work out with the cycles. But yeah, this was one of those levels that I never actually wanted to root and never had to, so I don't have too much to say. It also wasn't too hard to execute. So yeah, while this is playing out, I'm going to be right back. I did say right back, so here I am already. Oh no, Jesse. Chaos in the City, Part 4. Those ball cycles are pretty cool. Alright, that's Hotel Chip. Ah, tunnel clearance. This one took me a little bit to execute back in the day. You really do need to have the entire route memorized if you want to go for this, I think. So are we watching a JV perfect run of this? I believe we are. And Jailbird. This one, did I find this one? I don't remember if I was the first one to find this. Let's check. Nope, it was James. Of course it was James. Oh well. This is one of those like collision routes that's actually totally manageable to find. I found it in links. I found the links record here, right. Yeah, I don't remember too many details on the MS side. I just remember I found it the record in links. I also remember I didn't have to route Paramecium Palace because I think Andrew made it public, and I just copied. Because for whatever reason I thought this level was going to be really hard to route, and it wasn't. You know, if Marcus was here, he would probably say Jailbird is a crappy level. Pretty sure CCLP bait is an insult. It's like, ha, this was made just to get in, and it got in. You guys are idiots for putting this in. Ha. I don't know, that's probably not totally correct. Exhibit Hall is a pretty cool level, actually. And a pretty cool route, too. If only that walker wasn't stupid. Like, it must have been really hard to design each of these rooms. I specifically tested that teeth room at one point, just so I didn't have to worry about it. Alright, green clear is just a maze. It's a pretty cool maze, but it's just a maze, and there's not too much to the routing. But yeah, when I found Exhibit Hall, I remember I found a point set minus point 0.7 or something instead of the minus point 0.5 that's there, so I wonder what I missed. And then this last part is actually really cool to come up with a path for, honestly, where you push the toggle button every 2 moves or lose time. Alright, Badlands. 844 is public because of 840 stuff. I'm gonna have no comments on what you need to do to get 845 or beyond. I'm just gonna say that this route was something that I had a lot of fun trying to come up with. And I was very, very pleased with myself when I found it back in whenever I confirmed the 844. This opening block pushing is kind of lame and uninteresting. I'm gonna be totally honest there. Most of the rest of the level is a lot cooler though. So you have a lot of moves to spare right now when waiting for the blobs. So you have a lot of time to clear dirt and adjust cycles so you don't have to wait for later. And I'm actually just going to skip ahead 10 seconds here because it's a 10-second wait and I don't want to wait for that. But yeah, you've got the path's totally cleared for everything later. You have that wait, and then there shouldn't be any more waits for the entire rest of the level after that move. Which I remember the thing that I spent more time on was trying to find a route with no waits because I didn't know what I had yet. But yeah, that path being cleared is pretty nice. Okay, so the thing about the blobs is because there's one open space, the pattern is completely deterministic. So you have time to wait to set stuff up and just do that. It's pretty cool. That's kind of what the entire route has to be based around. And then you just take this force floor shortcut to save the moves at the end. Alternate universe is, it's a level. It's pretty basic. Is there really any trick to this other than just following the path? No, that's what I thought. It's a cool idea. I'll give it that. Also cool is that this triple joint bolt exists. There's a 5-second improvement. It wasn't even that hard to execute. I want to say that a lot of, I mean, it was tough, but so much easier now than it used to be. And I want to say that Mika probably spotted most of the force floor things because that seems like a Mika attention to detail thing, and that's a good thing. Like I never would have found this on my own. That blob is so obnoxious, though. I remember I lost a few runs to that blob. I like that little trick of leaving the block for later. I think you don't even wait on those balls, which is super sick. Just 505, that is such a cool route. Teleport Trouble is public because I made it public when I found it, whenever I found it. I don't even remember doing that. I just remember I was happy to find it. And this was kind of a half improvised route, not gonna lie. It's pretty much I did stuff and I found gold. Cool. Comfort Zone was a level where I was really, like, I thought it would be stupid to look for the longest time, and then I actually sat down and did, and I found it in no time. Because, I don't know, I don't know why I thought this was going to be hard to find. But we're coming up on the end of the set, last quarter. And that's where most of the interesting stuff happens. Including, well, California, communism, and blobs on a plane all in a row. So California, I think a lot of people have already seen this route being the first ever quadruple joint bold in Chips Challenge history. And the way this developed was actually really interesting. Um, like really interesting. So from my perspective, I'm looking at the level and I find what do you call it? I found a 422 way back. It wasn't good, but it was something. Tyler found a 423. He's not part of the collab, so he doesn't matter here. Sorry. Um, there's whatever JB had, there's whatever JB had a 422. Shane found a 420, 423. They collaborated and found a 426. And then at that point, James and Mika come out of nowhere with their 428 nonsense. JB confirms it. I'm looking for it. I find something close. I compare with Shane. We find 428. We compare with JB. We find 429. James finds 429. It's a totally different 429. I see his 429. His block pushing is inoptimal. There's 2 moves missing. 2 moves? Might have been more than that. He missed the thing with the teleport. That was my big insight. And so all of a sudden we have 4 different people who've all collaborated on parts, and we put them together and it comes out with this 430, which is just an amazing route. And then somehow James doesn't have the record on the glider cloner level. So I was pretty sure 521 was possible here, and I was planning on looking for it at some point, but I'm glad I didn't have to, and I could just score it for free. Because honestly, my 520 was just clone 19 in a row. It was 19, and then just have 1 extra weight somewhere, and it all just magically works out. Which the funny thing about that cloning 19 is it's actually faster at the end of the level than the beginning of the level. Like, it loses 6 moves or something to the cloning in this route at the start, but then finishes only 3 moves behind. So it's still actually better at dealing with the ending parts of the level, which is just ridiculous. Like, that route was so coincidentally almost perfect. So, JB, how long did Blobs on a Plane take you to get? Like, I'm actually curious how long that took to grind. Because I'm not showing your Blobs on a Plane. Nobody cares about your Blobs on a Plane here. This is my stream. We care about this one. Which, I have a different chip collection route. 50% chance of death number 1. Another big chance of death. Survived. Another one. Okay, so it was a big grind, but probably about the same amount of time here. So still no wasted moves. Obviously some pausing for better reactions through all that. And then I want to highlight this moment right here, because this is the moment that I talked about in the post. So at this position, there's this big question of what do you do? There have been no moves spent in the buffer. None at all. Still have both. If you step up, there's a good chance you just die. There's a chance that you can walk around and it just works. And you can always try and wait and see, but if the blob moves down, then 255 is totally dead. So I guessed based on the step, which I had miscalculated, that left up was best. Instead, up was actually the best decision, I'm pretty sure. But regardless, I totally miscalculated, made that left up decision, and it paid off. Of course, like, no spare moves here, but the blobs just didn't get in my way. And 255 happened. That was probably like 8-9 hours plus, I don't even know. So Runaway Train took me a bit to find when I looked for it. Nowhere near as long as Blobs on a Plane did, but, you know, well, anything. It's mostly just dealing with monsters, so the cycle's kind of equalized, but I was still missing something for a while. I don't even remember what it was. It was so long ago. And yeah, Indy, there was a big CC1 race on New Year's 2015, where to be more accessible to people, we had, hey, You have a 30-minute break you can spend at any point. If you haven't spent it by the end, you spend it at the end. The final result on that was JB finished about 10 minutes ahead of me, with me having a 10-minute death on writer's block. So it was pretty close. We finished at like 6.5 hours. Everybody else was in the 9 to 10 range. Yeah, Shane had a 9.5 hour time with a half hour on Fireflies, I remember. Yeah, I agree that we should have a CCLP2 race at some point. I wouldn't mind sitting down and trying to do one for CCLP3 at some point too. I mean, with enough time, advance warning for some preparations. I don't think anyone wants to do them without some prep. Um, this is a cool route. I think CCLP1 is probably the best one to do that kind of thing on. Um, and I really do want to do some serious runs of CCLP1 at some point. But gotta sort out the whole public route thing, work out what I'm actually able to go for in runs, and obviously what I want to go for in runs, because that's not the same thing. Gotta love the headbanger rule. I think there was some half weights in those button presses. I'm not totally sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. I don't know. It's been so long since I executed this that I don't actually remember. The slide delay involved in this level is kind of funky, honestly, but it's pretty cool. uh, Wait, JB, you're still stuck on detonation station? It's not that hard to find. Yeah, Shane, this has him stuck longer than One Tank's Adventure did. That's crazy. Yeah, the sewers was a level with some block pushing. All right, Metal Harbor. So this one is actually going to be 2 seconds off, or 3 seconds off. It's just a matter of finding the right ideas, JB. I mean, it took me like 5 hours to find a 208, and then it took me like, what, 20 minutes to find 209? But yeah, the Metal Harbor is a pretty cool level. Less so in MS than in Lynx. Like, the Lynx route for this is, like, probably one of my favorite Lynx routes. Partially because you can bust it across a fire tile. Have an extra block, skip a section, the usual. Real talk, for the site, I honestly think that levels that have no luck elements at all should say 0 of 5 for luck. And then like 1 of 5 should be reserved for there is a little bit of luck, but you will probably get this on most attempts. And then like 2 out of 5 is luck is a factor and you will and expect to take a few tries. And then beyond that, it can be like more granular. Like I don't think anybody's gonna argue about the 3 to 5 stars right now. Maybe the 3s a little bit, but like the 4 and 5s, I don't think anybody's going to argue belong in another category. So, random fun fact about this level, the boosting gave me a lot of trouble, like with the right timings when I first did this. But I've since learned better timings and it's not too hard. But it's like, it is really cool just seeing how far I've come looking back at these old routes and remembering, man, this used to be hard. And now it's like, hey, this looks so easy. I tried breaking this level in MS a couple times, but the ending is watertight. Just no way to do anything. Lynx almost has something there. It's almost an extra second. But alas, it just doesn't exist. That JB and I could find. I fully expect if it exists, Ruben will find it. And this is a really cool way to exit, honestly. So chip plank galleon B -4. This is kind of what I would consider the obvious route to the level. There's some more stuff. I had a really cool 283. James had a really weird 282. I'm pretty sure the AVI he sent me after route like 285 comparisons was Bizarro Galleon 282.6. But yeah, I had a no. The 285 is real, and I've scored everything from 281. I scored 281, 283, 284, 285. Never seen a 282. But no, like this is one of the hardest routes to find in the set. That's still pretty reasonable to find, I think. If you want a hint on going in the right direction, try going in the right direction. All right, so this is a fairly casual route, I think. I don't know. Josh, this is your Jeepers Creepers, right? Okay, yeah. How well planned out was this? If you're still here, Josh. This is very well done for not being very planned out, honestly. But yeah, this is a level that definitely needs an improvement in the public solution. Something like the 640 sounds right. Um, I don't know if anybody has one that wants to put it in. Tyler, maybe? I thought it was good enough and I hadn't seen it yet. This one is kind of agonizing because it feels like there should be something, but there isn't. Like it's 60.8. There's no way to get that extra move. Which is unfortunate. It's always annoying when it feels like there should be a way to save that one move, but then there just isn't. And utter clutter. So the single longest bold route in the set, and a level with no floor tiles. I think Tyler confirmed this, I'm not sure. Um, this route was in fact played out by Tyler, so that's cool. So this is one that I just copied. I didn't actually route myself. I saw the chance. I figured it wasn't going to be that hard, but you know, if I just have the opportunity, then I'm just going to do it. I copied that top left room, and it doesn't matter because it gets equalized. Hey, TSG, whatever. Yeah, a whole bunch of little tricks here. I'm just going to... For the rest of this level, there is no ticking noise. Yeah, I copied that. I almost always have the sound on. Like, it's useful for hearing when things happen. Like a bomb explosion on the other side of the level, for instance. Like, I would not have wanted to go for the last Starfighter without audio on. Also, wow, there are so many little execution mistakes here that don't matter. Man, this level has a lot of backtracking. Would it surprise anyone if I said this is probably one of my least favorite CCLP1 levels to play? Probably not. There's nothing like technically wrong with it, it's just long. And nothing in it is terribly interesting on its own. Hey, 50 bits. Thank you, Jesse. Another 50. I do like how that only has the one move weight at the gliders. and then blockade, which was another one I copied. Yeah, now we're at the part where I kind of just copied routes because they were public and seemed pretty well established. Wow, that extra two-move detour that gets saved by that block, or by that force floor existing, that's cool. I think it was a Zane record. Yep, it was Zane and confirmed by Josh. This was a weird one to puzzle out. So what I did for like Peekaboo and routing it and ending up scoring it was I put down a number on each room, indicating the order that the rooms were visited. Nothing too complicated or special really, but it's just one of those little tricks or tactics that I pulled out. Man, this block pushing is riveting. And now just some simple item swapping for the end. We need more interesting routes. Where are they? I can see why this set had Melinda at the top. Ah yes, interesting routes. This route is just... This level is so bad to optimize. I'm super impressed with this find and this route and just all of it. Just insanity. I don't even know how long I spent to get a 411 and then later somehow found 417 and then 417.6 and then 417.6. It's really funny. The Dave levels were two of the ones that were really holding me back from like the perfect CCLP1 score. I'm sure I'm sure Dave thinks that's hilarious that he has two of the hardest levels in the set to get bowled on. That even has no weights on the traps. It's so good. So I don't have a funny story about this one, but you know, uh, James does. Indy, I have a 50-bit minimum on the alerts because I don't want to be spammed with 1-bit alerts. Not that that ever happens anyway. Anyway, so a bold on this was 594. James found an extra shortcut. That made it 595. Except it was actually inoptimally executed because of an extra trick, and it's 596. with no spare moves. And so there was a race to execute it before JB found and executed it. It was like, oh, huh, B+1, nice. Later I went and looked at the level and found it and scored it because and made it public because, well, I don't see any reason why this shouldn't be public, and it's still tricky to score. I was so nervous when I got to the ice section, or the water section, I should say, in the lower right. It is by far the hardest part of the level. The stuff with the fire is not too hard. I don't actually mind the length of this one because you're constantly doing something and going somewhere. I don't know. Something about this one doesn't bother me. But yeah, this section down here is the hardest part of the level, and it took me the most tries to get right. This ordering is important for the force floor shortcut. Don't forget that one. Yeah, the thing about the skates is that the order you do things matters a lot. Hey Mika, welcome to the stream. Uh, we're almost at the end of the public solutions. Yeah, so you can see why this part would be the toughest part to get right in this level. Still didn't take that long, because by the time I scored this, I was actually getting pretty good at boosting. I'd done some pretty difficult scores at that point, but it was still a bit of an ordeal. And I'm sure even today, if I were to go for this, it would take me a little while. But I wouldn't really be complaining too much because I've done harder things in a decent amount of time, so I would know that the score would be completely inevitable, that it would fall. And then Frogger, which, funny story about Frogger. Um, my initial route for this was a point 8 instead of the point 0 that it is. But I thought, hey, in theory, you could use the teleport skip glitch to save moves on the right, and that would be so stupid. Just teleport your way up. And no, you can't actually do that due to how the teleport skip glitch actually works. Um, you need the first mouse move to essentially have the second mouse move send you back through that teleport, and that's just not possible with the setup here. And so thankfully, there is no way to beat that 272 with some stupid route. And let's watch Dynamite, because Dynamite was fun. This is obviously a B-15 route, but it's a very, very well optimized B-15 route. Um, basically, what's wrong with this route is something about the overall approach, but for this approach, it's a very good score. And I had a lot of fun, actually, just working this one out. This section in the bottom left, I spent the most time on by a lot, and kept finding little time savers here and there, and eventually that's where I had my last 3 breakthroughs. But yeah, Dynamite is... I'm actually looking forward to eventually coming back and tackling this, but I want to clean up some other scores first. I'm perfectly fine with putting this one off. You'll also notice that the stuff in the top left, I am waiting on over there. You can do those blocks at any time. I'm just choosing to do so later because it doesn't matter when, and I want to do the harder and more complex, harder to remember and more complex stuff first. All right, thanks for stopping by, Mika, and thanks again for the congrats. But yeah, two more blocks from the right side, and then the three from the left side, and that is the route. Well, that's this route anyway. Um, so JB and I actually compared 856s back when I confirmed it, and we had some pretty big differences. And at the end of the day, I essentially spent more time setting up for the end of a route, and he didn't. So he finished the traps ahead of me, but then had a bigger detour at the end because I did stuff at the start. It's one of those really funny things about this game. Yeah, dynamite's down. So easier than it looks. This level took me so long to find Bold on. It took me so long to notice I could just go back through the teleport like that. I tried swinging around and going horizontally through the teleports, but it never occurred to me that I could just step back down for the longest time. Like, I wish I was joking, but I'm not. Then Spumoni was a super early record that I set because, hey, I can do this. This looks cool. And so this is JB's route, and the thing about JB's run here is his boosting pattern there is not as easy as mine was for the second transition. You can just hold right and you get it optimally. Um, since you have four spare moves, this route is probably not that hard. That part's probably the toughest. Yeah, routing this was a lot of fun. Yeah, really, you can just hold right and you get it optimally. It's one half, like it is one sliding tile slower, but it gives you a spring slide back, so it's not actually slower in the end. Detonation Station is a complicated level. There's a lot of potential options there. So Steam Cleaner Simulator was one of the first levels I seriously tried tackling in the set, and I got a 463, and Bold was a 470, I think, at the time. So I kind of gave up for a little bit. And then when I came back, I was at 471 for a while, and then finding 472 was a huge pain. So this route here, public was 453 on the TWS, and Mike Lask had a 459 public. So in preparation for today, I played this route out to just clean up the public routes a little bit. There's some flaws, but I think it's a pretty solid route to have out there. And then this thing took me forever to figure out and score back then as well. Just so much boosting, and it was very difficult at the time. I think this section on the right... No, this part wasn't hard. No, actually it was. That part gave me trouble. So deliberate one move wait, and then time that wait. Convenient that you don't have to wait there. Don't miss that spring slide. This route is just... This was hard. And then when I did get it, I was down that one move, which still works for bold, but, you know. And then culprit doesn't give you that spare. So this level right here, finding the route took me a while, and I specifically ghosted the bottom left ice section a lot before I actually sat down and did it. Um, and it still took quite a while in the actual level. Like I said, this is the most ridiculous Andrew Menzies ice section in one of these types of levels in the set. Half weight there so you can go through. Don't mess up anything there. Or there. And hope you were able to make that cycle. I think I actually did lose a move near the end there, but it doesn't matter. I wish I'd actually measured out the weights here rather than just timing it, but at least there's a consistent rhythm. And Mike Lask's AVI that he posted was actually very close to bold. He just didn't notice he could go straight down that column. And instead went down one column farther to the right and had to have some weights as a result. All right, Whirlpool. Not showing the public route there. No, I'm making bold public, I've decided. So this was found very, very recently. So in the 884 I made public a long time ago, I went up first because I wanted to deal with that part first with the boosting. But then later when I looked at it, after getting Melinda to determine the decimal, I found it was a 0.8. But I also noticed there was potential to get an extra spring slide if the long slide lengths worked out, and they did. So I found 885. I'm like, ha, I did a thing. And I still had to actually, do the thing. So took me maybe 20 minutes, if that, to score this. It felt so easy, and that was crazy, seeing as 884 took me over an hour the first time when there were 4 spare moves. And obviously, if there's a 1 move gain and it was a 0.8 route, then it's a 0.0 route and there are no spare moves on this. So have fun to anybody else who wants to try to score this. I'll throw it in the public TWS after the stream. That part was the part I was most worried about getting right. It took me 3 tries at it before I actually got it, and I didn't screw up anything afterwards. Shoutouts to Jumpy Left. Oh right, we're shouting out people who are memes with shoutouts. Got it. Oh right, I just did that. This ice slide here, though, is such a nerve-wracking section when you're on pace. You don't have anything to do, but you're just psyching yourself up for the spring slide combo here. This was still one of those big surprise records, but I'm pretty happy with it. All right. Thief Street. Nice, easy, short level. Public route should have the mouse click. Yeah. Kind of wish that mouse click saved a move, but I'll take what I get. And then Chip Alone. This was another one that I actually ended up copying. I think Shane made it public, so thank you for that. Finding it probably isn't that difficult, but I way overestimated the complexity of this when I was looking at it. This is kind of a recurring theme near the end of this set. I was overestimating the difficulty of levels and underestimating my own abilities. No, this was put in the, yeah, JB put this in here. No, it's a minus 0.8. I swear I remember you did something about making this public, though. Wait, let me go back. JB. That's 2 moves wasted. It ends up not mattering because of that cycle, but Assassin was fun to look for. Like, this one was really fun. Don't remember all the details around it, but I remember there's like a bunch of people looking for it. Okay, but imagine how long it would have taken me to find that I missed 6 moves in the first room of Life is Not a Puzzle. Like, if I hadn't specifically asked him and like, okay, just to make sure I'm not an idiot, you get there at this time, right? Right? All right, automatic caution doors, B minus 1. I specifically threw this in the solution to clean it up, then kind of hint towards how you get 825. It's not beating the next ball cycle, so it's just not. 825 will not be public. James is heavily against it. 824 is good enough. And nobody even has 824 scored right now. Closest is I think an 821. Nah, Casper went and got an 821. Yeah, 813 is most definitely not one ball cycle off of bold. That's like 5 ball cycles off of bold. That part took me a couple tries to get for this demonstration. And that part took a couple tries too. Yeah, this was specifically played out. This is pretty much an exact replica of the 824 I had before 825. But still took a few tries to get certain parts correct. It's a tricky route. Now this teeth section I think is really cool. Like, this was fun to come up with. And I will say 825 is something that I had ruled out as working at one point until I went back and tried it. That sound was probably me moving the microphone position slightly. All right, flush. This is B minus a lot, isn't it? Yeah, this is B minus 16. This isn't even the last of those. Dude, nice. Yeah, this one was a fun one to look for. Five people have this bold. This slow slide loading. Wow. Wow, Tyler, that should have at least been 254. This is a cool level. This is a really cool level. Do I need to put on? Yeah, we'll put on Amphibia, and you can all behold the glory of the nine weight, as as James put it. 844 was kind of interesting to find here. Kind of stupid though. Never liked this level. Yeah, you have that 9 move weight, and that gives you really, really good cycles for the entire rest of the level. Like, it's kind of insane how good the cycles are for the rest of the level after the 9 weight. Assuming that's what that reference was supposed to be, Indy. Just like look at how few weights you actually have to make here. It's just crazy. I mean, you have those, and that's like it for the rest of the level, I think. Sorry, you have that too. But like 850, it's crazy. And then this is another one of those casual routes. Pretty sure this one was played out by Josh. But this level's a weird one. The reason why I say it's a weird one is because of one reason and one reason alone. Um, my first route was a 431, which was the bold at the time, but JB had a 430 for a bit. Nice, you got that trick. I wanted there to be I think everybody wanted there to be some way to break this tank room so badly, but it doesn't exist. And then this bomb room was really cool to come up with a route for. In fact, I'm pretty sure this bomb room was faster than what JB or James had. I know the three of us spent a little bit of time trying to hammer out if there was some way to beat to beat an extra cycle as a result of this, and we came up with the conclusion that no, there wasn't. Good going for that boost. I probably wouldn't have there. So this ice room took me a very long time to execute in the for the 431. And this ice room down here, this was also fun to come up with a route for, even though actually executing that route was, ugh. All right, will Josh take the ice shortcut here? Yes! That oof didn't cost any time. Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna say that aside from the boosting, there's some block pushing time savers that are still out there here. It was a fun level. So chance time, obviously gonna get perfect luck. This would be a really weird level in an RTA run, I think. Like, what kind of strategies would you use for that in an RTA? Anyway, Cineworld. Story time. This is the first level I did that really had half weights. This took me hours to score. Like, literally hours to get all of the half weights right. I screwed up the last half weight several times. Like, this route sucked to go for. On the plus side, it got me a lot better at getting half weights. And honestly, Josh, taking like 2 hours is pretty good. Took me longer. Yeah, and those half weights are only possible because Tom decided to trap that glider on a fourth floor instead of a trap. Uh, Thief, you've taken all that was me. Two more after this. To be fair, I did the exact same thing with Unravel, and it matters. um, this was another route that I think I actually just copied. Like, the only funny thing about this level is in my run, I made a mistake, a big one, but noticed that I could slide through the glider room and make up some time on that. So I ended up getting a minus -0.9. And I don't remember when this level was centered, mirrored vertically. I wasn't around then. This room's cool. I really like this room now. Who even plays in MSCC anymore anyway? It's 2018. Okay, that's a fair point, Shane. That's a very fair point. But if you're going for a teleport skip glitch bold, then wouldn't not being unable to see the bug at the start not matter? Thief taking the flippers. The snipers, which I don't think I've actually seen this particular route either. I kind of just improvised my way through this one until I got bold. Not half weight. Dude, that other half weight. And that one. And that one, wow, no wonder I barely got bowled if there are this many half-weights in the optimal route. Imagine if that got an extra second, though. And then last but not least, Clubhouse, which this is a B-1 route, which the bold route here, the bold is pretty cool here. I know this looks really sloppily done, and it is there, but doesn't matter. Still makes the cycle. Now I have to ask Tyler, was Cypress inspired by that? Or did Cypress come first? I don't have too much to say on this block pushing. It's kind of just a bunch of block pushing that's anticlimactic for the final level. Also, can I just say that the Cypress bold route is really cool and leave it at that right now? Indy, whether you see the trick or not, without the full route, you can't fully appreciate it. I still think it's funny how my first finished run of Cypress was a 325 because I did an inoptimal Suckuban in the top right. That glider weight, or rather, that lack of glider weight, and that lack of fireball weight, wow. If I didn't have 430, I'd be questioning how it's possible. Was that a 1-2-3? Well, whatever. That is the CCLP1 solutions, which public solutions now give you 6,004,550. Which, how many people beat that? 4? 4 people have a better score than the public score for this set? Guys, you're slacking. But alright, that was a fun stream. Thanks for sticking around. I don't have too much to add here. Don't have anything to go for that on stream anyway. Um, Super happy to have the Melinda for the set for now. Something tells me it's not going to last very long.